This was the biggest mistake of my life.
We got a juicy one today. Filip Miucin. Do you guys remember who Filip Miucin is? So one of the more popular videos on this channel that I've done was in response to Filip Miucin's plagiarism of Boomstick Gaming's Dead Cells review. It was a very big deal, and what was uncovered after Boomstick Gaming's video where he showed all of the similarities between his review and Filip Miucin's review, what transpired of that was more accounts of plagiarism. It essentially destroyed the guy's career, as it should. Plagiarism is the worst thing that you can do in journalism, in writing. It's just the worst. If you get caught plagiarizing, you'll never get a job again. Now, luckily for him, he does have a big YouTube channel. I don't know how many people are going to continue to consume his videos. I'm not really worried about that. But he came out only a day or two ago with an apology, which is interesting. Almost 8 months after his plagiarism was uncovered. And it's actually a pretty good apology. There's 2 apology videos. So the first one, he just basically says sorry. He says he's sorry to all of the companies he's worked with. He's sorry to the creators he's ripped off. He's sorry to his friends and his peers. And then that's pretty much it in the first video. And then he came out again a day later or 2 days later with another apology talking about the reasoning behind his plagiarism, why he plagiarized in the first place, which is what everyone was waiting to hear. When they first saw this first apology, you could see in the comments, everyone's like, we want to know why you did it. We want to know why you did it, and if you understand why you did it, and if you can move on from that. So then he did come out with a second video talking about why he did it, and that's the part that I'm more interested in.
But obviously, looking back, I can see that I still had a lot of growing up to do, and I had a lot to learn. And when I got that big break with this awesome gaming company, my insecurities were amplified by like 10 million because the audience was bigger and the expectations were higher. I really wanted to do well, but I was also really scared of saying the wrong thing or putting out a bad review. I was blinded by my excitement to work alongside so many of the people that I've been following for so long. And I guess I just underestimated what it takes to be an IGN editor, producer, and podcast host. This was the biggest mistake of my life.
So his main reasoning, essentially, for plagiarizing and using these reviewers as content is because he just wasn't able to keep up with his workflow. He didn't want the quality to be sacrificed by the amount of work that he was doing. So what he says is maybe he just started pulling from other reviewers just to release good, well-written, defined reviews in a timely manner and to continue doing so. And he basically states that he's probably not the guy to be doing that, as we can see. It's probably not a good job for him since he can't keep up with the workflow and he's resorting to these drastic measures like plagiarism to produce this workflow. And it's a pretty good, I think he touches upon the points that should be apologized about. But I think it is super interesting that he 8 months later felt the need to apologize. In my opinion, it feels like he wants to get back to work, like he wants to start doing reviews or making gaming content or something like that in the future. And he needs to clear his name and apologize before he can do so. And it does feel a little bit forced. It feels a little bit like he's in desperation mode. But it is an apology. It is an acknowledgement. He did explain all of the reasonings that he says. And I believe him. And I think what happened was there was just too much work for him to do. So he said, you know what? I'm going to pull from these smaller guys. No one's really going to know. and I'll be okay. I have to get this review out. I haven't played the full game. I don't really. I didn't dive into this, so let me just take a few of these topics from these other reviewers. And I think he consciously did it. I don't think it was a matter of him watching a reviewer, maybe some of their ideas and their biases get stuck in his brain, and then him repeating those biases. I think he consciously went after these smaller reviewers and took pieces of their reviews to put into his stuff because he was just strapped for time, or he's just not a good reviewer. He's just not good at his job. So it's hard to. I mean, I personally don't really care. I'm not a fan of him. Never was a fan of him, and I don't really care for his content. So it doesn't bother me if he comes back or not, because I'm not gonna watch him anyway. But I am interested in knowing what his fans think. I am interested in seeing how the gaming community will come to him, maybe making a return. I don't think he will be hired by another publication, at least not in a writing sense, not in an editing sense, not in any sort of production sense. Maybe, they'll let him do some other stuff, but I don't. That's pretty rough, right? Anyways, I wanted to touch on this because this is the closure of the Filip Miucin saga, which has been an interesting. It's the biggest plagiarism that I've seen so far in gaming journalism, and it's the most apparent accusation as well. Like it's definitely one to learn from. Do not plagiarize. It's not worth it. You will ruin your fucking career. He talks about how this was his dream job, and this was the biggest mistake he's ever made in his life. And I believe him. He fucked up, and it sucks. But it's up to his fans and his supporters to accept him and for him to come back. Will I be upset if maybe a year down the line he ends up back on the top doing reviews again and has a big audience? I don't care. I would rather him succeed than fail. Let's just hope that nothing like this ever happens again. If that's the case, then it'll be bad. But I think he's learned, hopefully. So yeah, that's the end of the saga. Hope you enjoy the video. All right, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.